What is going on, Whisper Nation? Welcome to the show. It is Monday, March 28th, and TFW is going live for another mock draft Monday. Of course, you already know that. That's why you are here. Calvin Brown, appreciate you shouting out the pre-show tunes. We love them as well. And that's all due to Johnny Game Time Hicks, the other man on the mic over here. What's good, my man, Johnny?
Yo, we got mock draft Monday.
Dude, I'm stoked, man.
I'm jacked, man. It's a 10-teamer, half PPR, Dynasty startup, Austin.
Yeah, we got a couple of spots left in it. Hugh, the 6, 7, and 8 spot. 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, and 10, including 1, are all filled up already. So if you're listening to the show and you want to get in on this mock draft, we're going to be firing it up here in just a few minutes. And the 6, 7, and 8 spots are still available. So, Johnny, where can the listeners go ahead and access those sleeper links to join this mock draft, both today's and the future weeks?
Easiest way, in the description below, there is a Discord link. You just click that Discord link, and we drop those links to every single mock draft on Mondays in there about an hour before the mock draft. But we also tweet it out as well. Hit that subscribe button. Just boom. Hit that subscribe button to the channel. You get notified when we go live. And then, every Monday, baby, every Monday, we're going hard at the mock drafts. It doesn't matter what time of the year, man. It could be, some people might be like, oh, well, football doesn't start for until September, man. They're still trading players. We're getting new news every single day. That's okay.
Fantasy football has no off season.
Hey,
we're here to be with you.
Players are going. Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna keep it going here and do it 420. What's good, man? Love it. Appreciate the shout out on the kicks, Calvin. If you are a sneakerhead, man, let me know what some of the of the styles you've been rocking on. Let me know what you've got your eye on over there. Absolutely love to chop it up around sneakers with anybody who is willing.
Dude.
Johnny, man, what are you looking forward to in this Superflex half-point PPR Dynasty startup? We've still got the 6, 7, and 8 spots available. We'll get this one started with or without you in just a couple of minutes, Whisper Nation. But, Johnny, what are you looking forward to in this draft? Or what are you keeping an eye out? Anything you're looking to try on for size? I know you're drafting at the end on the turn in the 10 spot here.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll flash up my screen here just to preview again what we're drafting for QB. This isn't this actually is. Does it say Superflex in here? Oh, we do have Superflex.
It is a Superflex.
It is Superflex. So here's the thing: we always see where these quarterbacks. Some people go and draft them a little bit high. Might wait around. We'll see what's around. This is a 10-teamer, so teams are going to be super stacked here. So I don't think I'll necessarily go for a quarterback that high. But yeah, I know I'm excited to see where some of these wide receivers have been traded, what people feel like their value is as of right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of action this offseason going on. Scott, good to have you with us, man. We are going to be doing a money draft. Thanks for bringing it up. So what Scott is talking about is our Underdog Best Ball tournament that we are going to do immediately following this sleeper draft. So it's a $3 entry fee to join the Best Ball tournament. And that's going to be an actual one we do throughout the year. Obviously, we won't know who wins that tournament until the end of the 2022-2023 NFL season, but we're going to be doing one every single week from now until the start of the NFL season, along with you, Whisper Nation. So if you haven't downloaded Underdog Fantasy yet, I really recommend it, not just because they pay us to say that, but because the app is awesome. We have been having so much fun with it. I've been losing a ton of money gambling on basketball games. Not my forte, but I was able to pick up a lot during football. So I'm still playing with house money and just really waiting for that football season to come around to start picking up some more wins. Johnny, Scott's asking about the link. Well, the Underdog link is going to come out, Scott, at the end of the show, because once we launch the room, once it fills, then it starts. So we don't get as much control like we do in Sleeper. And then for the Sleeper link, though, you can catch that on Twitter, right? On our Discord as well, Johnny. Where's the quickest place to jump in if Scott's trying to get into the Sleeper room?
I did drop it into the chat on Sleeper as well. So it should be in the chat, the link to the Sleeper.
And you know what? I can just drop this into YouTube too, can't I?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's in the YouTube. It's in it's in the computer.
Oh, I see. You did. Yep.
The computer.
Scott, scroll up.
Yeah, scroll up. Oh, yeah, that's the classic scroll up and the text message thread there.
Brett Johnson, scroll up.
Yeah, we got 3 spots left open. If you guys want to jump on there, like I said, we have tweeted that out. We have sent that out in our Discord.
Yes,
we'll get started here shortly on this 10-teamer. Austin, you got the number 1 pick. Obviously, it's just me and you today. Big Travie traveling. Went back to Cali for the weekend. And so it's just us two. No.
He's
just like, no, dude.
Yeah.
No.
I love you so much, man. I love you so much. I love you. I just love you so much. I'll just leave it at that. All right. We got 6, 7, and 8 spot here. I think we're going to get about 60 seconds. What's up, Ronald? Good to have you with us, Professor. Love it. Ron, we're going to be getting started here in about 60 seconds. 6, 7, and 8 spots are still open. After this sleeper draft, we're going to be jumping over to our best ball via Underdog and doing that for it's going to be a 6-person draft, $3 entry fee, just like we did it last week. Looking forward to that. But we're going to get through the sleeper Superflex half-point PPR Dynasty startup before that. And so, Johnny, you asked me about my 1-1 spot right now. I am, oh boy, Jonathan Taylor is kind of the clean-cut number 1 pick in a Dynasty startup for me right now. If you want to go running back and not pick up a quarterback, Najee Harris has got a little consideration, but I'm taking Jonathan Taylor over him. And then, Justin Jefferson and then Jamar Chase give a little bit of consideration for me, but it's pretty much stuck there. Anyone else I should be considering though, Johnny?
In Dynasty?
Yeah.
It's hard for me not to go Jonathan Taylor right now.
Yeah.
Even though running backs, we know that their career span's a little bit shorter, but still, if you want to go the wide receiver,
let's go ahead.
Being that it's Superflex, you could go in a little bit different directions here, being that it is a Superflex. Where do you feel comfortable is what you ultimately have to decide on what you want to do with that number 1 overall pick. If I'm going Jonathan Taylor though in that number 1 spot, right, then I'm counterbalancing that out throughout the rest of my draft, where I probably won't be drafting another running back for quite a few rounds because I want to stack up the wide receivers, at least grab 1 quarterback and then go from there and see where that kind of is laying out, the lay of the land, as they say. As you start to get in that 6, 7, 8, you can kind of get your 2nd, 3rd running back there. That's the one thing I would say if you are going to go Jonathan Taylor. Whereas if you go to a quarterback first, or which I don't think you necessarily have to do, or even if you go wide receiver, I think it gives your team a little bit, you open yourself a little bit further down in the draft in those like 2, 3, 4 area where you might be able to capitalize on a running back that fell. And to me, that might seem a little bit more comfortable with how I like to play. So it all depends on your own comfortability. But I'm excited to see what you end up doing here, Austin, being that we're about to get started here.
Yeah, we're waiting to I think we're waiting on Scott here. So just give me a second, having an issue. Would love to have you jump in here with us.
Hey, we're all having issues here,
well, we are. It's just that time of
Monday.
History.
It's just Ron is in there. All right.
Oh, there we go. What's up, DBR? Love to have it in there. All right, let's go ahead and just give me
get it going.
Don't I have this one? Don't I gotta?
Oh yeah, you have to get it started. Sorry, I'm used to. You're right.
Yeah, it's on me this time. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire this one up. We're gonna get started in 3, 2. Are you sure you want to start the draft? I'm sure. Let's go ahead and do it. All right. I'm going to hit that little volume button to keep the sound effects to myself and make my first selection. I'm just going to go ahead and not get too cute with it on this one. I'm going to go standard on my approach. Jonathan Taylor, Smitty Satao is coming up next. Got Brocal 38 in the 3 spot. Idaho Packers. What a cool nicknames going on. I would love to hear a little background on that name. Idaho. We got Weiberg 420 in the 5. Professor Ron here in the 6. DBR in the 7, auto drafting in the 8, Josh Blizzy here in the 9, former Whisper listener champion, and the one and only Johnny Game Time Hicks drafting in that 10 spot. All right, Ronald said it best here. Oh yeah, Kool-Aid Man coming in your living room. Let's get it.
That's I had the volume on one of the sleeper things. Hey, did you know that now if you don't make a pick and time runs out, they have a little voiceover that says, "Oh, come on, dude."
Really?
Yeah, dude.
So that just happened to Smitty Satao?
Yeah, he just although he got Justin Jefferson, so
yeah.
I'm sure Smitty will be back right in here because
it happens. It does happen.
He signed up like right away. He was like one of the first one.
Here we go. What's good, Josh?
What's up, Josh?
Let's get some. Josh, a frequent high-quality drafter, I must say. Credit where credit is due. And Whisper Nation, though, has been on it with a lot of the drafts as of late. They haven't been as easy as they might have had been a couple of years ago. People are paying attention, know what's going on here. So Josh Allen,
wow,
your boy Swift, gone.
First round, Scott. First round, you're gonna take my boy.
Is that here holding out for a little bit?
I mean, I was not going to take him here in this. I thought maybe he'd fall to the 3rd, but Scott over here taking him in the 1st. Really? I mean, that makes me proud. That makes me like a proud parent right now and a proud moment in my mock drafting livelihood for TFW. You know, makes me feel
crazy
good.
That Swift is coming into his 3rd year, and he's still just 23 years old.
Yeah, I know. He's super young. Well, did you see too that Detroit Lions, man? No, and Scott just getting on the early getting an early jump here.
Just heads up, you are on the clock right now, Johnny.
Yeah, do I want to go
3 seconds?
I'm gonna go
nice
up.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go. Do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? Okay. I'm gonna go back to back wide receivers here. Ooh. And I'm going to go. Do I take Tyreek? No, I'll go Devontae. I'll go
you bring
Adams.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the news coming from Mike McDaniel today about Tyreek Hill. Mike McDaniel here, head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, newest acquisition of the Miami Dolphins. He said he sees a lot of overlap between the way the 49ers use Deebo Samuel and the way that he would like to use Tyreek Hill in Miami. What are your initial thoughts about that, Johnny?
I mean, we talked about that, right, on Thursday's TFW live show. So if you're not subscribed to our channel, make sure you subscribe. We go live on Thursdays. And that was one of the topics we talked about, right? We talked about where his, coaching tree came from, where it started to branch off, and what that could possibly mean. Our big question was, hey, is it going to be Tyreek Hill that is definitely going to get that Deebo role, or are they going to put Tyreek in the Brandon Ayuk role and give Waddle the Deebo role, right? Because they're kind of interchangeable in my opinion. Now, obviously, Tyreek is a much more improved and well-rounded wide receiver. He's been in the league. He's been proven, right?
A little more polished.
More polished. But you also have Waddle being very impressive. So, but again, hearing that was the topic that we brought up, is who is going to get that Deebo role. That is what's going to be very, very interesting. And hearing that it is, in fact, Tyreek makes me more confident in drafting Tyreek this year. Because of that. Now, will he be as effective as Deebo? Probably not. Deebo was very, very efficient last year, and almost like, almost jumping off the page kind of at how good he was, right? So can Tyreek, under that circumstance of, it's a completely different game kind of for Hill, right? He's still going to be using his speed, but in a different way. It's going to be a lot more around the line of scrimmage. Not as many big chunk plays over the top. So it will be interesting. What's your opinion on Tyreek Hill? Are you worried that he is going to get overhyped because of what we saw from Deebo last year? And
I'm not concerned about it. No, I guess the question is, where do we see Tyreek Hill going in redraft formats? I'm thinking about Tyreek Hill in the context of Dynasty, one, because we're having a Dynasty startup draft right now, but I also have rostered Tyreek Hill in our Dynasty leagues. So I've enjoyed Tyreek Hill's service over the last several years where he has been phenomenal. And looking at him with a quarterback other than Patrick Mahomes doesn't get me jacked up. But hearing the new coach talk about ways they'd like to use Tyreek Hill with a special plan in mind, resembling one of the best wide receivers we had last season in Deebo Samuel, makes me think that, yes, you're getting a downgrade at quarterback. I think that Tua is good, but you can't call it a lateral move at quarterback when you got Patrick Mahomes, where he's coming from. So he's a downgrade at quarterback. But that doesn't mean the production necessarily is going to be downgraded because Tua could get it done. I think, though, it's more likely that Tyreek Hill did see a reduction in production with Tua as his quarterback playing for the Dolphins. But with this new commentary from Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill could be used in additional ways. So he's still that deep threat option. He's still that speed demon. But now he's a bit of a gadget player as well, getting some touches out of the backfield. Like if he gets 5 touches a game out of the backfield to go along with a good handful of healthy targets, I don't think Tyreek Hill misses a step, but I don't think he goes up or down much from where we've seen him. He's in that wide receiver 1 category. Am I taking him 1-1 overall? No, I'm not. But I think he's in that back end of tier 1 for me still.
Okay.
I know you're on the clock here after my Tyreek Hill monologue just concluded now. While you're making your picks here, I just want to give the audio listeners a rundown. After Johnny picked up Adams to start the second, we saw Javonte Williams, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Joe Burrow, Bryce Hall, Nick Chubb, Tyreek Hill, and Antonio Gibson come off the board. I started the third off with the aforementioned Patrick Mahomes, followed by Deebo Samuel, Joe Mixon, A.J. Brown, Justin Herbert, Stephon Diggs, DK Metcalf, Burks, Waddle. Johnny takes Kyler Murray as his first quarterback and Terry McLaurin as his third wide receiver. Johnny, you want to give us a little bit of a rundown on what you were thinking? Were you considering any other pieces here besides Kyler Murray or Terry McLaurin, or were you pretty stoked that they were available when it came to be your pick?
I wanted Terry McLaurin for sure. He was the guy that I was also looking at Kyle Pitts, who Jay Blizzy took right after me, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Thought maybe he could drop to the next round. And then, obviously the quarterbacks, I was looking at it. Who would I rather have? Kyler, Lamar, Deshaun Watson, Jalen. I still think that there's a lot of quarterbacks. I probably wouldn't go this early on quarterback. It was a little bit of a panic pick there with what I kind of wanted to do. So I'm not too excited about I'm excited that Kyler Murray, I think, has a tremendous upside for fantasy football still, right? I still think that some of his better days for fantasy football are ahead of him. Do I like the fact that I had to take him in the third round? No, I don't. Not in a 10-teamer. I probably would have waited a little bit longer. But again, we'll see if my other player can maybe make it back to me. I don't know.
Keeping that one a little bit close for yourself.
Yeah, just a little bit, just to see, because I would love to see if I got him in the 5th. But most likely I won't. But yeah, I would have waited. I should have waited a little bit longer on quarterback. I got a little spooked there.
Well, now I've got to make my selections here. I like my 2 running backs, so Jonathan Taylor and Antonio Gibson.
That's a pretty good stack there.
We now win later. I like that. I think I probably got to kind of stay within that same world of like win now and win later. And I think I've got some decent people to keep that going. I like Deontay Johnson.
So yeah, that was I thought that Deontay Johnson was like where I probably would have went instead of Kyler. I thought about it and then backed off.
I'm looking right now. I think DeAndre Hopkins is the best win now receiver that we've got available, but I like a little bit more of the length of like, you know what? No, I'm gonna stick with this unless I'm gonna do a quick scan. Nope, there's no running backs here that I'm in love with. I'm gonna go ahead. A little bit of hometown love there in the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins. It does concern me of how much time he missed last year, only because he's not somebody who traditionally misses much time at all, which could be a suggestion that his cells are starting to break down a little bit, as what naturally happens as we get older. But the man is still in his 20s, albeit 29. We need him, Kyler Murray and the Bird Gang, to be productive. I think there's going to be an added emphasis on that. I think DeAndre Hopkins has got a couple of stellar years ahead. So I'm going to use him as one of my anchor wide receivers right now in this Dynasty startup, and then maybe try to get some younger guys as the draft progresses.
It's a little wild. I'm kind of noticing this too, that Kyle Pitts was the first tight end off the board as well,
Ooh.
which I is a little interesting to me.
Do you think that that's a purely logical take, or is there just like a little bit of sex appeal tied into that? Because Kyle Pitts is the most attractive wide receiver in terms of a football acumen. I couldn't tell you what his face looks like to comment on that side of it. But Kyle Pitts is young. He is coming out like a unicorn. I mean, Kyle Pitts is supposed to be something that maybe we've never even seen before. With all of that mystery box element aside, do you think that Kyle Pitts, who did have a great rookie year, just straight up, let alone a great rookie year for a 21-year-old tight end, do you think that in a dynasty startup, third, fourth round here, I guess fourth round, that's the right pick? Kyle Pitts is the number one tight end off the board.
I mean, it certainly like checks logic, right? Because you're looking at Travis Kelce. All right, like what would be the argument of taking Pitts over Kelce? Okay, you're going with the youth. Okay, so you like that makes sense. Travis Kelce probably still has a good 3 years left in him, but there is some concern with, okay, what does the game plan look like without a Tyreek Hill on the field? Do they double now Travis Kelce every single time? That could be some concern there. But I don't know. Mark Andrews to me is still really young. You could have your concern. Like I think it would just come down to youth, and then you're just hoping that you lock that up as one of the best tight ends for the next 10 years is kind of like.
Yeah, Johnny, I think as you're making your next two picks here in the 5th and 6th rounds, I think you cleared that up for my decision making. Love Kyle Pitts, love what he's about, but if I'm dynasty drafting a startup squad, I think it is Mark Andrews, who is still only 26 years old and was the number one tight end in all formats last year, with no real indicator that his projections are going to change moving forward. I mean, this guy has been a top 5 tight end in standard formats the last 3 years. And in PPR, he's been a top 5. He was number 6 in 2020. So he's been right there the last 3 seasons with no reason to believe that's going to slow down. And Kyle Pitts, while he's got all the talent in the world, we don't know what his quarterbacking situation is going to be looking like long term. We don't know what the Falcons' overall game plan is going to be like. There's just a lot of question marks surrounding Kyle Pitts that I don't see with Mark Andrews. I guess there's a potential a little more upside in Kyle Pitts, but Mark Andrews has already delivered for you.
Yeah. I think Mark Andrews has a tremendous upside if Lamar continues to develop as he has been over the last few years. I mean, this guy.
But you can need him to develop. Like even if Lamar doesn't develop and he has to kind of go with the safety blanket approach. I mean, is there any world where Mark Andrews suffers as long as as long as Lamar is actually the quarterback for the Ravens?
Yes, because he has struggled the last couple of years and not hit his actual. I mean, yeah, you look at the end of year finishes and you'd be like, okay, well, it doesn't. He's doing just fine, right? Like end of
number
year,
1 tight end last year.
Number 1 last year, 4 tight end 4 or 6 in PPR 2 years ago. Tight end 5 3 years ago, right? You're looking at that and saying, well, Johnny, like, where are you saying, how can you be more concerned? If you look at the week to week is the problem in 2019 and 2020, you get 3 games in which Mark Andrews went absolutely bananas. And then the rest of the time he was a mediocre tight end. And so like, you don't want that from your tight end. Like you want to be considered like that's the draw and the lure of having a Travis Kelce. Is that the idea is that, hey, Travis Kelce is going to get you top 5 tight end production each and every single week
on a more consistent basis.
Right. And is Mark Andrews going to do that? As he hasn't shown it, right? Last year was the best year that so far. And even last year, he struggled through many games where he wasn't a top nonchalant or echelon tight end. And then he had some mega boss games down there at the end where he scored, 40 fantasy points twice. I believe he had 2 games last year where he scored over 35 fantasy points. So that's like 70 fantasy points from a tight end in 2 games is a lot of that's a lot of points coming from. That's going to weigh down your overall total production. So again, I'm one of the biggest Mark Andrews fans, but again, like looking at the details of where where you're getting this production from is important when you're talking about, the number one tight end or where you should go with these guys.
Yeah, in PPR formats last year in week 5, he had 41 points, and in week 15, he had 35.
Yeah.
Now, the week before that, he had 28. The week after that, he had 26. The week after that, he had 15. The week after that, he had 16.5. But I hear what you're saying there about he does have some volatility to him. I'm wondering if, though, his ceiling, which is kind of like, does anybody touch a ceiling close to Mark Andrews and tight end before? This isn't going to be a whole thing dominated by Mark Andrews, but I guess my last question to you would be, does anybody touch the ceiling of Mark Andrews today? Is Darren Waller? Can Darren Waller touch his ceiling? Can Hawkinson touch that ceiling?
I believe that I think Kyle Pitts can touch that ceiling. I do think that Travis Kelce can touch that ceiling again. My bigger question is, can Mark Andrews touch that ceiling again? Like, I'm more confident that
why at age 26 with the same quarterback would he not be able to touch that ceiling?
Because there were a lot of it was similar to 2 years ago, right? When Travis Kelce had 10 straight games where he scored a touchdown, and coming into this year, like this is a whole point of that I like to look at, like not only year-to-year standpoints, but also like week-to-week production, because 2 years ago, coming into last year, Travis Kelce had been the number one tight end for 7 straight years, I know it was at least 5 straight years. And then he was, top 5 for a couple of years on either side of that. So according to the book, Travis Kelce was the safest tight end. What happened last year? Travis Kelce was a terrible tight end from a week-to-week standpoint. And so, but where did he finish? He still finished top 5. So again, can these guys reach that ceiling? For sure, because Travis Kelce can do it. Waller could definitely do it. Kittle could do it, because we've seen all of those guys do it. Now, are they going to? Probably not, because for Darren Waller's example, well, now you have to battle with targets for Devontae Adams, George Kittle. Can he do it? Well, now you've got Debo that's emerging. Now you've got maybe Brandon Ayuk reemerges and shows some live. So it's a opportunity match with an upswing, or going with the current of that year for tight ends, and that's like a perfect storm almost. And that's what I think you saw from Mark Andrews last year. Will he do it again this next year? I have my doubts. I think, you're talking about, like you said, 2 games in which he scored over 35 fantasy points that you just said, and then he had 5 other games in which he scored over 15 fantasy points. That's what you want from your tight end. But as someone who has Mark Andrews in multiple leagues, I don't know if he can reach that ceiling again, because you've got, Lamar coming back, hopefully for a full healthy season. You've also got, Marquise Brown potentially getting better. You've got, their other wide receiver that was a rookie last year that was in and out of the lineup. And, is he going to take more targets? So that's kind of where my hesitation comes on whether or not Mark Andrews can get back to what he did last year. Does he have the talent? Absolutely. We'll see if that ends up panning out.
We'll see on that one. And speaking of panning out on this one, it looks like our settings did not get saved. I thought it was a Superflex. Man, we are having some struggles going on with our Superflex. We'll just call that one out here.
It is Superflex.
Well, we have it. No, we don't have the extra quarterback spot. That didn't get added on there. It didn't get saved. So deal with that as we are. So it's looking like it is. We're calling it a Superflex. We're calling it a Superflex over here. That's right. So stick with us on this one. And so we're just mocking around on this to get some of the wrinkles ironed out on this one. I'm drafting as a Superflex as well, Ronald, on this one.
Yeah,
I'm
doing so as well.
Superflex, for sure.
Yeah. Get my double dip there. Well, I probably, yeah.
Well, we know that he's in your starting lineup here. Do it. And that's what we have been going the whole way through. So we are drafting these ones all as Superflex formats with only one auto drafter in here. So it's really not having that big of an impact, actually. So it's not a significant hiccup, but I do appreciate that recognition coming in.
Yet. Do you have any rookies? No.
I haven't drafted any rookies yet. And I'm starting to come around to turn on that one. I wanted to ask you about that. What's kind of your position on taking rookies in Dynasty startups? I'll tell you what mine is first. I like to go with impactful players on the younger side, but I don't need people to be like babies, like a guy who's 25, 26, 27, that can be 4 years of really good production. Maybe not the running back position, but a tight end, at wide receiver, at quarterback, most definitely. Mm-hmm. And that's, a season it takes some time. Like a lot of things can happen in the course of a season. So I'm not looking to gobble up rookies really early, but I am looking to take a ton of lotto picks on them moving forward. So like I get to a point when all of the guys that I'm interested in are gone. And like, I'll just full disclosure, I'm looking at Myles Gaskin. I'm looking at Rashad Penny, Ramondre Stevenson. Some of these guys.
You're going to pass on the Penny?
I think in a dynasty mode, would I take Penny or would I take an attractive rookie? I think that's the line. I'm taking an attractive rookie over there. I think it's pretty much as much of a dice roll. Now, if I didn't have any starting running backs, I would be going this year. I'd be going with Rashad Penny because we talked about this on Thursday's show. You need to look at how the player finished at the end of last season and what situation are they coming into to start this year to really give a clean outlook on where you think they're going to be production wise. And oh no, did this freeze? Oh no.
Did yours freeze?
It did.
It's going in and out. You got 3, 2, 1. Time's up. You got your boy Aaron Rodgers.
I just wanted to make a pick. I don't even like it. But we'll go ahead and get myself some trade value or whatever on that one.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you get to a point, when you kind of use up all of the guys that you're excited about snagging, and then it's like, let's just load up on these rookies. Like, let's really get it going because a rookie that does hit is crazy valuable. I mean, I'm gonna make my pick here before I start running my mouth, but Najee Harris went number 3 overall in this dynasty startup. Jamal Williams went at the top of the second round. A lot of young guys going really early when they hit. So especially at the running back position, I'm going to gobble up some of those talented rookies as soon as the decision becomes a rookie we've never seen, but we're excited by, or someone that's like best case scenario was an RB2.
Yeah, I might not even draft any rookies on this team, to be honest with you. Just because where it would be at, in the draft. I like when we were doing our rookie draft, there were several rookies that I did like and I ended up picking, but most of them I had to end up cutting because of Penny got taken right before
you.
I was really hoping he was going to fall to me because I needed him on this roster. But thanks, Jay Blizzy, for sniping my guy there. But that's okay. I'm going to take Ramondre here, and I might go. Ooh, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Right here, man. This one, actually. In this case, I'd probably be better off going with a rookie year, but I'm gonna get our boy Ronald Jones, dude, newly signed to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I wanted to actually ask you about Juju Smith-Schuster, who was taken like a half a round before it came to you over there by Weiberg 420. What's up? Do it. And now you're bringing up Ronald Jones, newest member of the Kansas City Chiefs. So give me your take here on the Kansas City Chiefs' new weapons. We've got Ronald Jones to presumably back up or compete with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We've also got Juju Smith-Schuster, who's going to be stepping into a team that doesn't have a clear-cut number one. Now, my dynasty squad is hoping it's Mecole Hardman, and I think there's reason to believe Mecole is going to – maybe we were a year too early, on the breakout call of Mecole. Maybe it's, it's a ship that already sailed. What is your – there you go, Johnny. That always
I got a snipe, baby.
What's your take on some of the new Kansas City weapons, specifically Ronald Jones and Juju Smith-Schuster?
Ronald Jones is going to be interesting because not the greatest receiver. Obviously, we know his hands aren't the greatest hands, but he did look explosive, did look good between the tackles. If that's how they use him in Kansas City, which, why wouldn't they? That could get interesting, right? You're talking about goal line work for Kansas City. They just lost Tyreek. Maybe they do run it a little bit more. And just thinking about Andy Reid, how he likes to use his running backs, I do think this spells a little bit of, CEH already had trouble in the waters, right? Like there was already some blood in the waters when it came to CEH, but now there's some, sharks are really starting to swim around here, and this isn't Shark Tank, okay? It's not a good thing, all right? So I do believe that Ronald Jones could end up being a sneaky little pick here. The other thing, when you talk about Juju,
like Ronald Jones, really quick, Ronald Jones could be the starting running back for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They haven't had an actual competition, really, for Clyde Edwards-Helaire since he was drafted the first overall running back a few years back. Like Darrell Williams, like to see what he's doing. Damian Williams, they had some good moments. Le'Veon Bell, the time he served coming in there for a minute or two. None of these guys really had a shot at dethroning Clyde Edwards-Helaire from being the majority shareholder of that backfield, right? Ronald Jones, to me, though, has that capability.
Yeah. And I think that when you're looking at just skill set, right? Again, there needs to be some kind of pass catching running back there. Well, that's not Ronald Jones, but you can't. Dang it, Jacob, Josh Blizzy. You just keep sniping my damn players here, man, and like I can't even concentrate because I'm so focused on trying to get these players, and then you end up Tony right before me. All right,
way to go,
dude. Fine, I'll just grab the other giant, who I think could have some potential and bounce back opportunity this year. Oh, well, I'm not going to take him, but Julio Jones potentially Cardinals. That's what they're saying.
There's still some like high profile veteran receivers unsigned. Julio, Odell, your boy Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, this is a little bit of an upside play here, but it's because I have Kyler.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like that Rondale Moore pick up a lot. I'm actually surprised to see him available this late. Rondale Moore, I think, was underutilized, but we saw what he was capable of last year. He is the only person we like to compare a lot of people to Tyreek Hill. I don't think I've really felt a fair comparison to Tyreek Hill except Rondale Moore. That one to me, and a little bit of Kadarius Toney here and there, that actual glitch speed, like, God bless Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, these guys, they're insanely fast and in the way that they move, but not glitch speed to me. Yeah. Rondale Moore, though, has that glitch ability, and it freaks me out, and I'd love to see him utilized a little bit better.
Yeah, considering the fact that he got I believe it was less than 8% target share last year, you would like to see that go up. Now the potential is definitely there, right? With Christian Kirk out the door, AJ Green gone. We'll see if they draft any wide receivers, but we know that Steve Keim is not great at drafting wide receivers.
10 wide receivers Steve Keim has drafted. Only one has broken 1,000 yards, and that was John Brown.
Yeah. So hopefully Rondale can make that number 2. And then hopefully we can draft a wide receiver. But like I said, there's some rumors that Julio could come here, which is interesting. Not, at this point in his career, not the biggest Julio fan,
right?
But when you're talking about pairing that with Hopkins, I definitely think that that's really good. I will say, I do think he could do better than what AJ did last year in that same spot or same role. So that would be pretty interesting there. Oh, and Zach Ertz going super late. That was another good pickup there.
Oh, that is a really good pickup to come in and pick these ones there. I like that take, Johnny, and I think that Julio could be a better piece than AJ was last year, who was not disappointing, I'll say. For the role that we expected AJ to serve, I think he served it fine, minus that horrible play to close the Packers game and some, late plays down at the end of the season. I think that AJ Green was a nice fill-in, and I think Julio could be the same thing.
Yeah, it'll be, we'll see. We'll see where Julio ends up, if he ends up coming here. But there have been rumors, and like I said, he's had previous ties here before because him and Hopkins wanted to play together. So I'll give my boy DJ Chark here. Dude, there's so many interesting, Still so many. That's it, man. That's the end
All
of this
right.
mock already.
We got this mock through. I'm loving the 30-second format here in the mock draft setup. So to hell with the kickers. Exactly. Do it for 20. We are going now to go through and do a little bit of our draft grades here pretty quickly for the non-auto drafted squads that we got. Give a quick breakdown on those. Then before we go and jump into the money league, as Scott has pointed out, we're going to be doing that over on Underdog Fantasy. And we're going to be doing a 6-team best ball draft, $3 entry fee on this one. So as soon as we're done here, we're going to launch that tournament up, put the link in this draft here, and then have a chance to do a best ball draft. We're going to do one more of these. And this one will be for actual money, actual competition. It's going to save the draft. We'll see how it all shakes out in January of 2023. We're going to be doing one of these every single week. So be sure to download Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code TFW to get up to $100 matched. So you put in $50 to launch it. Underdog will throw $50 your way as well. And then jump in the best ball link once we send that one over your way. But let's go ahead and get these draft grades cooking, Johnny. I will go ahead and go first. Let's start with our BroCal 38 here in the third spot, who takes Najee Harris in the first, and then goes to the stable of running backs, Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon, his first 3 picks. I think this is a great 1, 2, 3. I think you're winning now. I think you're winning next year too. Way to go. Mark Andrews in the 4th round. Johnny and I had a substantial conversation on how good we think Mark Andrews is, his volatility, his ceiling, all these things. When it all shakes out, though, he's still 26 years old and does have that elite upside. We like the pick there. At least I do. And then you fill out your wide receiver depth here. Chris Godwin, Devonta Smith, Amari Cooper, and Chris Olave, rookie wide receiver, coming in there. I think you give yourself some good win now, specifically with Godwin and Cooper. I like Devonta Smith this year, and the highly touted rookie is going to be nice for the future. Damian Harris would be your 4th running back. That's pretty nice. Mike Williams there should also have some win now upside. The Chargers certainly hope so after signing him to a 3-year, $60 million deal. Tua and Zach Wilson are your 2 quarterbacks. I like Tua. I want to like Zach Wilson. He didn't give me anything last year to get excited about, but we'll see how he progresses. Alexander Madison, Chuba Hubbard is your 13th, 14th, and Zach Ertz there as your backup tight end. I'm looking at holes. I see a little hole at quarterback. I like your running backs. I like your wide receivers. I don't love them, but I wouldn't call any of these spots holes. I wouldn't call it a strength either. I think this team is really well-rounded. I think its strengths can be found in the tight end position and in the stable of running backs. I think it's not as scary or as intimidating as you might hope for it to be if this is the way that you drafted. I'm going to give him a solid, I'm going to go B minus on this squad. B plus from Johnny on this one. Love that.
B plus for me.
B plus from Johnny on this.
Yeah.
Whiteboard out ready. I think this is a really good mock draft. Some good things to take away from here, but I'm going to go with a B on this one.
Okay. Well, we got Smitty just jump back in here. So you all right. Weiberg.
What's up with the Idaho Packers?
Huh? Oh yeah. Well, it did say auto draft in there. I didn't know. But I do know he was through there. All right. Idaho Packers here getting Christian McCaffrey with his first pick at the 104. I think we got a rookie taking a rookie early here, and Hall as his backup running back. You got Leonard Fournette in the 7th and James Carter. Okay, I like, and Chris Carson all the way down to 15th. I don't know about Chris Carson and what his future is with football. There's some concerning parts with his neck, but overall, that's a pretty solid running back room, at least for the immediate future, right? So let's see if this, based on what the running backs are, it's more likely a team that's competing immediately. So with a wide receiver group of A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen, Rashad Bateman, and Brandon Cook. That's a very solid wide receiver core there. I really like what you did there. I think it's really good quality depth with quality players. quarterback, you got Lamar Jackson. That's the only one. You might want to pick up another one. That would be a concern with it being a super flex, but there was some back and forth on that. So understand why going with
Especially
just
if it was a little bit
Lamar there.
auto drafted too. That's
Yeah, facts. Tight end, Goddard and Dawson Knox, two solid tight ends that I think are going to be very good. They can go between the two. Will either one be the number one overall tight end for the year? Probably not, but I think between the two, it'll be very, very competitive for you. So I like this draft. There are a few draft picks that I don't necessarily love, but again, you mitigated the overall risk here between going back and forth. But again, I would probably go, or Austin, you want to write what?
Yeah, it's a super flex. It is a super flex, and there was an auto drafted issue with that one, so that's a major hit. With that said, I'm going to go with a B+ on this one, because I think that it does have some scary pieces. I agree with Ronald that a CMC in a Dynasty super draft is too early. No thanks. But if this season still counts. Season 1 still counts. So you might have. If Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, you've got an elite running back right there. You've got presumably, you hope, the next Najee Harris there in Hall. We don't know where he's going yet, so that's concerning at this point in the season, but it could end up being a great pickup. I just don't know, and I'm concerned at this point. And nice receivers there. Like, this can win you now, win you later with Brown, Higgins, and Evans. Allen Robinson, I think, is kind of a sneaky pick. Thielen, Bateman, Cooks, not bad depth to have there for you. And then I like the tight ends.
I'm going to A-.
All right.
A- for me. I like that team. Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and hit up now Weiberg 420. Right. Takes Jamar Chase there in the 5 spot, and then picks up Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Really great young quarterback talent here in the Superflex draft. Way to go on that pickup. It's nice. Let's see if it made any other sacrifices for you. Aaron Jones and David Montgomery are two nice running backs, I think, for this year, especially Aaron Jones with the depleted targets of Devontae Adams leaving. Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman as your top 2 wide receivers. Marquise Brown as your third, presumably with Juju Smith-Schuster and Gabriel Davis. That's actually some, like,
it's pretty good.
Nice depth. I like it. Juju Smith-Schuster has got more appeal for him this year than I think he's had the last 2, at least for me. And Gabe Davis is coming off a phenomenal finish last season. I really like that pickup there. You combine your 2 running backs with Tony Pollard, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert. You're going to need something to happen for one of those 3 guys to become relevant. Things happen, though. It's a dynasty. It's why you're sitting on them. Freiermuth is a great young tight end to have as your starting tight end and as your dynasty tight end. I like that pickup. I think this is a good team. I think this is actually a really good team. I don't see any holes. I'm with you, Johnny. I'm with you there. What?
I know. I said that like A, but it was like A. I was just.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to
just an A.
Hey, got it. Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Chase wide receiver 1. There it is.
I noticed that like after I was like, you're just like, oh, what?
Yeah, this is good.
Just an A. Just an A. That was a good one. All right. Our guy, our boy Ron here, the professor, Ron, coming in, drafting at the 6th spot. Took a lot of he went pretty young with the quarterbacks. So quarterback
like this
in his first. So Josh Allen in the first round. Then he took Trey Lance later on, and then Pickett, who is a rookie, supposed to go number 1 at the quarterback position this year. So quite the stack there for quarterbacks in a dynasty. Then Austin Eckler started off his running backs in the 2nd round. He paired it with rookie Spiller. You got Travis Etienne in the 7th, and then Devin Singletary in the 10th, and then Myles Gaskin in the 13th. Running back depth there is a little bit shaky. Of course, like, we don't know where Spiller is going to get drafted. There could be some potential if he goes to like a really good offense, maybe like Seattle or something. That could be interesting, but it makes it a little bit risky in this year 1 or year 2 for your running back position, especially because ETN coming off a serious injury there. But with your wide receivers, you went with Stephon Diggs, Wilson, another rookie wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy, got Hunter Renfrow, Michael Gallup, and Russell Gage. And then for the tight end, you did grab Travis Kelce. Here's what's interesting about this draft. It's hard for me to grade it because you got like this mixture of solid now, win now, and then you've got these pieces that are kind of question mark / hope to win, hope that it sets you up for later. So that gives me some concern there. Overall, what would you give this?
I like it. I got an A minus.
A minus?
Yeah, I got an A minus on it, and I'll say a little bit why on this one. Oh, can you hear me?
I could hear you. But,
there we go.
There you go.
I know it frozen. I think it's a good A minus on this one, and it's because when I look at how you would be with starting a lineup on this one, and I see a lot of good starting lineups coming from this. Is it scary all the way through? Not really, but it makes sense all the way through, and I think it's good now and will continue to be good. Josh Allen, best quarterback in the game. You got that anchoring your situation, and then 2 young quarterbacks right there. Now, if neither one of these guys starts, you've got an issue. But if either one gets going, you're probably in a good spot, especially if it's Trey Lance. That's a really nice combo there with the mobility aspect. Austin Eckler is your number 1. That gives me some concern. I think he's undersized. I think he overproduces. I think he tries harder than he should because he cares about fantasy football, which is a mixed bag. Like, it's good, but it could hurt him down the road. But you don't really care about that. I think he has a great season next year. Just like cut it simple. And then to pair along with him, you've got some less than like crazy running backs, but I think you have still real upside there, especially with Devin Singletary, who I think is kind of primed to have the best year of his career thus far. And if it's not him, you're hoping that ETN or Spiller can have an active role on their respective teams. Myles Gaskin would be that kind of fill in there. Then when we look at the wide receivers, Diggs, Judy are nice players right now. You got Wilson, who you hope will be something. Gallup, I think, is actually going to be a nice play as long as he heals right. And Gage, I think, is a sneaky pickup that late as well. And then you get the best tight end in redrafts in Kelce right there. So I think this team makes the playoffs this year. And given some of his anchors, I think it keeps relevancy down the road, even if he doesn't have great rookie drafts.
Give him a B. Yeah. I have some of my concerns there. After like a year or two, this could be in a lot of trouble, but you never know.
Spiller and Wilson get it going and pick, and yeah, but
I mean, there's some nice pieces there for sure, but then there's also some that they could go downhill really fast.
Yeah. Skip Hunter Renfrow. And that's true. We'll give Hunter Renfrow a shout out on this one.
Our boy Hunter Renfrow.
I'll call him your boy.
Wait, where the Renfrow grows, dude. Where the Renfrow grows.
DBR takes DeAndre Swift in the 7 spot, Johnny's other boy. And then Derrick Henry. This is starting to look like a nice win now. Let's just jump to see who his other running back is here. Michael Carter picks up in the 7th, and Saquon Barkley there in the 5th. Both have really high ceilings. Both have really low floors. Michael Carter, though, I think should probably be pretty good. I don't think the Jets are going to be good, and that whole thing could just catapult any type of production, but we'll see. DK Metcalf, I'm loving the projections for DK Metcalf coming in this year. I like what he's saying. I like the presumed roles he'll have on the team. So that's a good anchor there. You got Ayuk, Darnell Mooney as your 2nd and 3rd wide receiver. Then you rounded out your draft with Woods, Kirk, and Mecole Hardman. I think that was actually pretty smart 1, 2, 3 pickup at the end of the draft, wide receiver wise. Like, these guys are all slotted to have impact. Doesn't mean they will, but that's why you got him where you did. Darren Waller is your tight end. Schultz is the backup. You're going to have a good season with those guys, presumably. And Prescott, Mac Jones, T. Law as your 1, 2, and 3 quarterbacks. Like, I think Dak Prescott is solid. I think Mac Jones is going to be the game manager of this generation. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not ranking anything of what he did last year under the Urban Meyer regime. So I like that pickup late. Do I think Jacksonville is going to be good? I don't know why they would. I think that the decision-making from the top has shown to be flawed. And that one Doug Marrone season when they were in the AFC Championship was a fluke. So I think that probably hurts Trevor Lawrence, but there's a lot of other variables a part of the mix, and we will see, as they say. So when it's all boiled down, though, how do I think this team did? What do you think, Johnny?
I have an A. I think Scott did a good job on this one.
All right.
This is a really good team. I thought about giving it an A+, but I am not 100% sold on Christian Kirk going to the Jags. I just slot receiver like over there doesn't really do much, but again, we will see. And I do think Mooney has some upside for sure, but there's still a lot of question marks. Same with IU. Can San Francisco really produce 3 wide receivers or 3 fantasy through the air with a rookie quarterback or
Debo, Kittle, and Ayuk in the third?
Yeah. So, but again, I do like where I think he's kind of built it to where he could win now, he could last out and really kind of win over the next few years as well. So I think this was a really good roster.
All right, let's go ahead and jump to Josh Blizzy, our former Whisper Listener League champion, to round out our draft grades before we jump right into that Underdog Best Ball tournament with you, Whisper Nation. So sit tight. CeeDee Lamb is taken in the 9 spot. I think that's a solid pick. Javonte Williams there in the 2nd round. Ooh, I'm liking where this is going. Jalen Waddle as his 2nd receiver. Like it now, like it tomorrow. And we'll just stick with the rest of his receivers. DJ Moore and Elijah Moore there as his 3rd and 4th wide receivers with Chase Claypool and Kadarius Toney. This is a solid wide receiver core that you've got here, Josh. You don't have that crazy top-heavy piece right now. CeeDee Lamb would be who that is, but like after 2 games, we could be saying CeeDee Lamb is an elite wide receiver this year. We were trying to last year. He showed a lot of flashes of it. I think it's probably going to happen, especially with the departure of Amari Cooper. Jalen Waddle, his talents is, it stands apart. It's enough about the wide receivers. I think this is a solid pickup. Javonte Williams is your number 1 running back. Elijah Mitchell would be your number 2. That's actually pretty nice. And the fact that he was available there that late is a clean pickup.
Yeah. Wow.
Rashad Penny would be your 3rd running back, presumably, maybe even your 2nd running back, maybe even your 1st running back, depending on how he goes in this year. Because, I mean, Johnny, we said it on the Thursday show. In the last month and a half of football, the last 6 games of the season, that's kind of a lot, right? There's 17 games. There's last 6 games. Rashad Penny was the number 1 running back in football. And until they draft another running back or pick one up, he is still that number 1 running back for the Seahawks. They took him in the 1st round years ago. So Rashad Penny's got some real life to him. So the fact that you got him there is pretty good. Your quarterbacks are going to be Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Derek Carr. You didn't invest early, and I don't think you paid a heavy price for it. Like Russell Wilson has been a top 5 many times. I think he's in a great new spot, offensive-minded situation, you presume, for the first time in his career. Great weapons. Justin Fields, he's got that rushing ability. And Derek Carr's got the best weapons of his career, too. So this is Kyle Pitts then as number 1 tight end. It didn't even end up hurting you on this one. You've got a solid-ass team, man. I like this. This
is what I put, dude.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yep. This was a beast team. Well done. I mean,
this is a beast team, Josh. We expected nothing less. We called out your stature coming in. And it's nice to see people not disappoint on this one. So
like I wouldn't even. We were going back and forth. Like I don't even know if you put Mark Andrews on this team if it makes it even look even sexier. Like I just like how it is right now. Like well done.
Yeah, well done. All right, so Whisper Nation, well done to Whisper Nation, man. Everybody coming in here. Ron, Scott, Freak Stomper, what's good, man? Oh shit, I missed you earlier. I gotta get you on that one, of course. Appreciate you coming in here, Freak Stomper, if you're still with us. Okay, so this was a fantastic. Love you too, Josh. It was a great draft here, but we're not done yet. We're not done. So let's go ahead and get the Underdog one started up. So, Johnny, I'm going to take this. We're removing this draft now, right?
Yes.
And I can go now ahead and share the Underdog lobby. Boom.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, make sure you send me that link.
So we're going to draft this hands. That's Jazz hands, not Peekaboo. We can do them both. They're not mutually exclusive, Professor Ron. All right.
You're supposed to tip off screen.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and Johnny, how do I launch one on my own?
So you're gonna click on the little eye next to the one that we're
Here?
gonna do. Wait, yeah, and then see where it says create private draft.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
Would you like to create a $3 private 6% NFL draft? Yes, I would.
Yes, we would.
All right. So this is the link now that we're sharing, right?
Yeah, share that draft, baby.
All right. So I've got the link copied. Whisper Nation, I'm going to now drop this in our YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and all of the comments. So go ahead, and if you'd like to join this best ball draft, it's $3. It's going to count. The end of it, you can win some money if you end up winning the whole thing. And jump in the draft with us.
You gotta send me that link, bro, or else I might not get in. Where'd you send it?
I put it in the chat.
I can't get it out of the chat. I can't get it out. You have to do it in the private chat.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on.
Oh, your boy got 2 spots. All right, let's go. Enter. All right, your boy got in.
All right, we've got one spot left. We got 1 spot left now. We've got 5 out of the 6 spots filled. We've got one more waiting.
Get it.
Someone's gonna get it. Someone's gonna get it over here. Whisper Nation, jump on into the Underdog best ball draft. We got 1 spot open. We're gonna be doing one more draft with your boys coming up. As soon as this spot fills up, the draft automatically starts. So go ahead and join us in this one. If you haven't downloaded Underdog Fantasy yet, I really encourage you to do that. It is super fun. Making a lot of money during football season, losing a lot of money during basketball season, but having a fun time the entire time nonetheless. We've got 1 spot left.
Also, what is Ronald saying that they won't?
Are you in another? He must be in another state. Philadelphia.
Dang.
Oh, okay, we're filled up now.
Oh, got it. We're filled. Hey, the draft's going to start in a minute.
All right, here it goes. So we've got Jay Blizzy is on the clock now in the 1-1 spot. Johnny Game Time in the 2.
Of course, Jay Blizzy gets spot 1 before me, so you could just sit here and snipe me all day. Unbelievable.
Here we go, Whisper Nation. We are now finally drafting. Okay, so I've got to shift this over to the board, right?
Oh, yeah. Are you going to be able to draft from your phone?
And I'll draft from my phone.
Okay. So we got a quarterback, a running back, wide receiver, tight end.
There we go.
All right. We'll see what Jay Blizzy does here. I'm going to see if I can snipe some players from him because this is not. Ooh, I got Scott right behind me too. Scott and this is gonna be difficult here. Drew K. Lou, welcome in. Appreciate you jumping on here. Let's go. When does this?
Is it going?
Oh, 1 pick away. All right, yeah. All right.
There it is. Okay, it's active.
Who did Jay Blizzy just say? Christian McCaffrey.
So keep in mind, everybody, this is a best ball draft. It's no longer a Dynasty startup.
No,
which means we're going for upside.
Well, I'll still take the biggest upside I can get here. And Jonathan Taylor, baby.
Jonathan Taylor. I don't hate it. We've got Death by Rona on the clock.
Let's go. Who's Scott going to take here? Is Scott going to go Cooper Kupp here? Is he going to?
I hope he doesn't, man. That's what I want.
You want Cooper Kupp?
I do.
Scott's going to go Justin Jefferson, or is he going to go Jamar Chase?
I don't hate Justin Jefferson either. I could see him going Derrick Henry as well. I don't think that's a bad pickup either. Cooper Kupp. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
What are you going here?
I'm going to go Derrick Henry.
All right.
I'm going pure upside.
That's pretty good. It's a pretty solid pick there. In the first round.
After
Bro Cal 43 on the clock here.
It's kind of now that we've got Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill playing for new squads, like Cooper Kupp in this format really stands apart to me. Just because he doesn't have any new question marks. Like he was number 1 overall. He's coming into like a similar situation, and everybody else who was kind of on his heels is dealing with more question marks than they had last year.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Cooper Kupp probably has the clearest path to duplicate what he did last year. as far, well, maybe not like the 22 touchdowns, but or whatever he ended up finishing with. But I do think, talking about, because OBJ still has not signed. Who knows if he's being leaked to everywhere.
Right.
You do have Allen Robinson coming in, but now Woods is out of the picture. So I think you're dead on there. Cooper.
And I'll say even Jamar Chase, who has such a crazy upside to him as well, I'm not actually as stoked about him this early on in these types of formats, redrafts, best ball, simply because T. Higgins is a gangster himself, and he's right there. He's young. He's coming into his own. He's a real presence. We saw him get that 70-plus yard touchdown in the Super Bowl. Like, he just has, I think it's great for the Bengals. You got the most exciting squad in the Bengals for the next 10 years. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow. But
do I go? No.
You're just not going to have to force feed Jamar the way you might have to force feed Cup.
Debo or Tyreek? I'm going to go Tyreek.
I'm taking Tyreek too.
Oh, who did I just take? Okay, good.
You got Tyreek. And then Travis Kelce, Debo, Samuel.
All right, good. I was like, Joe Mixon, AJ.
Ronald, I hear you on Darren Sproles, but like, how many times was Darren Sproles a top 10 fantasy running back? He does what he does well, but not in a voluminous type of workload. Kind of need it.
I don't know if it's a little shaky and rocky here.
Like, you're shaky? You're shaking? Are you nervous? Do you
No. I'm saying like my roster so far. Even though we're 3 picks in and they're super stacked.
I hope he doesn't take who I want. Thank God he didn't. All right. I would really enjoy me some. I'll take me some Stephon Diggs on this one. Yes, please. I feel good about that play. What?
I looked at him for a hot second, and then I was like, nah.
Any particular reason that you're fading on Stephon Diggs right now? Just because you like Nick Chubb more?
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. Like, Stephon Diggs is awesome. That and pair it with Gabe Davis. I do think Gabe Davis actually continues to break out a little bit more. Which causes, like, I think as Josh Allen continues to progress as a quarterback, I think he does start to tend to, spread the ball around a little bit, get a little bit more comfortable. He doesn't have to go to his number one all the time. He doesn't have to go to that safety blanket and only be reliable on or rely upon Stephon Diggs. So, he's starting to, hey, Dawson Knox, you're my buddy. You're on my fantasy team. I'm gonna get you some touchdowns. And then Gabe Davis starts swinging. He's like, yo, I can't be taking these wide receivers all high like this, like Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox jumping up here. I'm gonna go with my boy Gabe Davis in the double-digit rounds. I'll get him double-digit touchdowns this year.
I hear that, but the love between Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen is pretty ridiculous. And Gabe Davis is good, but do you think that either one of these guys actually have a chance at getting closer to the inner circle than Stephon Diggs?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, there is a chance. I feel pretty good about Stephon Diggs over there, but we'll
talk
see.
Me into it, dude. You talk me into Mark Andrews. I'm gonna make sure that I get that upside.
That's a great. That I think is the best ball tight end in the game.
I was like, yeah, I think you're right on that. I think you're dead right on that.
Like,
that would actually be really interesting to see if Mark Andrews has had the highest and the most number of like above 20-point fantasy games over. That's an interesting
over the last 3 years.
Yeah, but I'm excited for. Okay, hold on. Once Jay Blizzy makes this pick, I gotta ask you a question. Okay, do I go DK or do I go T Higgins? Because I like both of those guys.
T. Higgins plays on the better offense. DK Metcalf has the bonus of presumably being like the only guy. But we don't know what kind of offense we're really going to see out of the Seahawks.
Would you go Hopkins instead?
Ooh. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go Hopkins here. Yeah.
I like DK's upside physically. But if Hopkins is still on the board, I think I got to go Hopkins.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably go DK over T. Higgins because it would be the number one role for DK. And T. Higgins is really good, but I think that he doesn't.
I'd be a lot more confident if Baker Mayfield ended up landing in Seattle, and
I'm going to take DK.
If Baker Mayfield lands Seattle and he's throwing to DK, I feel a lot more confident than Drew Lock trying to throw to DK.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew Lock is just really, I mean, of course, DK is probably going to be, you're going to see why he's so explosive in this next year if they keep Drew Lock, because he's not super efficient. He's not very accurate. So I think you would see in that case, like you're going to see some spectacular plays from DK because Drew Lock will air it out. Like he's not cautious in that way, but I would like to see him more efficient, like Baker Mayfield, who would be willing to target him enough to like be like, hey, I'm going to go to you. You're my number one guy. Like, I love you. Like I used to love OBJ. But again, we'll see. There's some, what is Seattle going to do, man? Because that's like, I'm wondering if it's going to be one of those wastelands where you're like, oh, there's some great fantasy, players over here, some good potential fantasy prospects, but are you willing to put them? I mean, think about it, dude. We were struggling to put DK in our lineup. Well, and I don't even want to touch on Tyler Lockett, but we were struggling with both those receivers with Russell Wilson as the quarterback.
Yeah, it's not untrue. That's not untrue. But then 2 years before that, like DK Metcalf was such a force. I think the spirit in Seattle was just so jacked up last year. It's hard for me to like really say what I think they're going to be. I'm with Travis, who's been dropping in here. What's up, Travis? Good to have you tuning in. Safe travels. I think Pete Carroll might have overstayed his welcome in Seattle. I love Pete Carroll. I love Pete Carroll as a person. I really enjoyed him as a coach. But you weren't utilizing your playmakers the best that you could have. And that's on you, bro. And we'll see how he rebounds this year.
I'm not gonna lie, dude.
What?
I like how these last few rounds have gone for me.
Yeah? What do you like most about him?
Just guys falling to me in nice places. I feel confident. I feel good.
Jay Blizzy took Darren Waller, who I was really hoping was going to sneak back around.
Yeah.
I couldn't pass up Aaron Jones. The upside that Aaron Jones could bring this year of I think his targets are just going to be through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted Darren Waller.
I'm going to go back to the well there with Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin.
I thought about another player, but we'll see if he makes it to the next round. But Terry McLaurin, I need more wide receiver depth. And I was just thinking about it, you change your perspective depending on what kind of game style you're playing.
Sure.
I love Deontay Johnson. Like, you know this, but Deontay Johnson to me is a better fantasy player as far as like week to week or like a season long fantasy, as opposed to like a best ball wide receiver, for the fact that like, I don't know how, like, if I told you Terry McLaurin is going to have 2 games in which he scores, 2 touchdowns and has 100 yards, you'd be like, all right, I could definitely see that with Carson Wentz. Like Carson Wentz likes to target wide receiver. Terry McLaurin, beast wide receiver. We've seen him make beast plays in the red area. You would be like, okay, I could definitely see him getting at least 2 of those. Do you think Deontay is ever going to have one single game this year where he gets 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards with Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Like, yeah. Would I be shocked if it happens? No, because I'd be like, Deontay is that good of a wide receiver. Yeah, I could see that happening. But if you're like, hey, who would you rather bet on that happening at least 2 games this year? I'd have more confidence in McLaurin doing that with Carson Wentz than Deontay with Mitch, and that was why I went that way.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with that take. I'm just kind of excited personally to see what Mike Tomlin can do with Mitch Trubisky. Like, I don't think they're in a great position. I think they did the best that they could, but Mitch Trubisky does have some upside to him. I think it's silly to say that he doesn't. And then Tomlin, I think, is one of the most steady-handed, eyes wide open, see it as it is type coaches that we've had this generation. And so if he picks him up and makes it happen, I mean, they made the playoffs last year with Big Ben Roethlisberger at age 39.
I know.
You know,
It's
what can
so
they do
wild
with?
to think about.
We'll see what they can do. I'm personally just like a little bit more excited about it to see what's possible in this situation. But we'll see. Got to throw the ball somewhere.
Facts. Okay, let's see.
You're on the clock.
I'm gonna go Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, is that your first quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of that spot too. I took Lamar Jackson there. You know, any little tricks or tips that you apply to best ball drafts, Johnny?
Typically, go for the highest upside. You always say that, but you know, when you're looking at that highest upside, look at the offense and like that's when you pair it with the defense. You know, like a Justin Herbert is going to have a really good defense. Is he going to be in a lot of shootouts? Is it worth is that upside going to be there compared to a Joe Burrow whose defense could be a little bit worse? But that offense is going to be definitely throwing the ball there. Hold on, I got 12 seconds. I'm actually going to grab my guy Deontay here now. Because why not? Why not? I was just talking about him. And then the case study can be factual and
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see what it is. But also, I like to when best ball, you kind of will also look at like the division of the football. Like what type of division they're in, because that could also help dictate on what some of these games are. And again, you're wanting to get these like shootout games.
Sure.
You also want a lot of depth. That's another key thing is like a lot of depth. So normally you might only draft like one quarterback or two quarterbacks, right? But even in this case, because there are so many rounds, you probably want to try to get two or three, considering last year how many quarterbacks got injured. And, if you don't have a quarterback starting at all because maybe one landed on a bye and then the other one was injured or whatnot, even if they're not the sexiest, they don't always have to be the sexiest quarterback, right? We talked about Matt Ryan and and Carson Wentz last year. They both had 2 games in which they finished as top 5 quarterbacks. If you took both of those 2 quarterbacks at the end of your draft at the very last 2 rounds, they're not sexy at all. But they gave you 4 weeks in total where you were able to get top 5 fantasy production, and that's all that you're worried about.
Is that enough though? Like I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm wondering though, is 4 weeks of that type of production enough to aim for that? Or maybe you say like you get those 2 guys plus a couple more guys in a best ball.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say for example, let's say I came in and I'm like Kyler Murray. I've seen it last 2 years, 80 or I don't know don't quote me on this, but go with me for this example. Let's say the last 2 years, Kyler Murray coming in 75% of his games, he's finishing as a QB1. Okay, so if I'm taking Kyler Murray, 75% of that production should be filled by the quarterback position by Kyler Murray. So therefore I would need about 25% of my games to be covered by another quarterback or another 2 quarterbacks. So again, it's all about the draft capital and where you're getting these guys. So you got Kyler Murray, like Kyler Murray went in the 9th. Let's say that was your first quarterback taken by BroCal. Then he could wait all the way and he's just grabbing that depth at those other, whereas like I took a quarterback or Joe Burrow a little bit earlier than that. So you can kind of wait on your quarterback position, but just know that, hey, if I'm going to wait and I end up getting like a Deshaun Watson, okay, Deshaun Watson's probably going to be out half the year, 6 games. I'm going to know I'm going to need to get a couple quarterbacks to fill in during that time.
Speaking of people to fill in here, Johnny making his 10th round selection as we're coming to the halfway point in this 20-round best ball draft. It's a 6-person draft. Real tournament, real money. We'll see how it all shakes out when the season is done. But if you're just tuning in and this is tickling your fancy, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We're doing our mock draft Mondays every single Monday, where we'll do a sleeper draft followed by a Underdog Fantasy draft. So one will be for practice, the other one will be for realsies. All fun, no matter what, though. Oh, did you just get Josh Jacobs sniped from you, Johnny?
Well, no, he took James Conner. I like that as like an upside because touchdowns.
Ooh, that's a really good upside pick.
Yeah.
There's no Chase Edmonds now.
No.
It's actually a great pick.
I know.
I'm like mad at myself for not taking him.
I know. Me too.
Damn.
All right. I'm gonna go Russell here.
it's like I don't even know if I love James Conner that much in redraft given his presumed price, and I don't love him at all in Dynasty, but in best ball,
in
like
best ball
sign.
in the 10th round, like
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest, I would have taken him over AJ Dillon.
Yep.
I didn't know that James Conner was still there. But although I do think AJ Dillon has like AJ Dillon's like another guy that to me his upside is huge. Like he is an RB1 if certain factors happen, right? But I'm
Yeah.
not banking on that factor dictating, that he's going to be really, really good. And so like that's why I'm not going to take him higher in drafts, but I certainly think that he's going to have that upside.
AJ Dillon kind of gives me these like Jordan Love, Jimmy Garoppolo vibes back when Garoppolo was still with New England, where you think that they're the heir apparent, but the dude in front of him just never hangs it up and keeps kicking ass. So then they kind of got to move on. Like Aaron Jones has been phenomenal. Aaron Jones was really hurt last year and he was still good. And AJ Dillon does his thing, but with the vacated targets of Devontae Adams and the strong ability for Aaron Jones to catch the football, like I just think Aaron Jones is probably geared up for the best season he's ever had, even if AJ Dillon gets the most carries that he's ever had. Like I think that it should be like a 60-40 split between carries, but Aaron Jones I think should be getting the majority of the pass catch.
The only thing with Aaron Jones with me is just health. Like, is he? I mean, he's missed time the last few years, and we know that. That's the other thing about AJ Dillon is he actually showed some receiving chops last year that were pretty impressive. I didn't expect it, certainly. And again, I do think I'm not saying that it's going to come into camp and that LaFleur is going to be like, oh, AJ Dillon, you're now the starting running back for the Green Bay Packers because we took you, a few years ago. I think you're absolutely right. Like Aaron Jones is a beast. He continues to ball out even when he is injured. I just think that when you look at how big he is, what that offense could really look like, I do think that there's just a really, really high ceiling for AJ Dillon. And maybe it's a year early. Like I'll fully admit that. Like it could be definitely a year early on that hype. But it's again like those are the guys that you target, right? With that in your mind, but not leaning on it and saying it. And then if it ends up happening, like you're like, oh shit, like I end up hitting on the guy. And
I mean, Derrick Henry took a few years. We made fun of Matt Potvin in our League of Record for taking him in the second round, and he was a year early, but then the next year he was a top 3 pick, and that was the right pick. Like guys like that. Running backs actually take a little more time to develop if they're not top 10 selected running backs. Like we don't get many Leonard Fournettes. We don't get a lot of Saquon Barkleys. Most of them are like end of the first type running backs. Talking about your Jonathan Taylors, your Josh Jacobs, these types. Those take a little bit of time, and Aaron or AJ Dillon would be right in that camp. So I think that AJ Dillon is exactly right there with what you're saying, ready to take it on. It's just if he's going to get that opportunity or not, because as Do It 420 says, Aaron Jones Packers #1 wide receiver in 2022. Like it's a joke, but like Alvin Kamara, maybe wasn't technically, but was their #1 wide receiver for the Saints. And I think that Aaron Jones is kind of coming into a similar situation this year. Got to make my pick now.
Ronald saying, remember when Trubisky was the next big thing? Yeah, for a hot second. For a quick second. I'm
glad I got Rashad Penny. That's an upside pick. I'm stoked to pick up in the 13th.
Yeah, that one's really nice. I do like that one.
That's got a little bit of like James Conner vibes to it for me.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Tyler Lockett, of course, is like the marquee best ball player.
Does it stay that way with Russell Wilson out of town?
Wait a second. Am I on the clock? No, I don't think it does. I don't think it stays that way. I think it drops off significantly. I mean, we were off the boat last year from Tyler Lockett because of what you had to pay. Everyone was like, oh, it's such a great value. Like the fantasy points are fantasy points at the end of the year. Like it's the same. And then it's like, okay, go ahead and draft it. And then what ended up happening? Like most people were like, oh, I drafted Tyler Lockett. I can't start him. I don't know when. It's like, yeah, that was the whole headache. That's why you never want to even get into that. Yes, is Tyler Lockett going to finish as a top 20? Absolutely. And which will be interesting. Will Jerry Jeudy be that same way? Will Jerry Jeudy be the guy at the end of the year, he finishes as a top 20, but there's like 4 games that he just dominated, and that's where he got all his fantasy production from?
I don't think that's an off take. I can see that going down just like you described. They're underestimating how much it was Lockett. Ronald disagreeing, though. I think people really are underestimating how much it was Lockett because no other wide receiver in Seattle ever did. He did with that. Saying not Baldwin.
I'm not saying that Lockett isn't a good wide receiver. Lockett's he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
But the problem with the scheme and the quarterback and that receiver is that like all 3 of those things need to combine in order to make that one event happen. And then now you're taking away one of those major pieces in Russell Wilson to making that event happen. I don't see it happening at all.
And maybe even 2 in the scheme.
Once. Yeah. Hold on, I need a wide receiver. I got 8 seconds. Ooh, I'll get my boy where the Hunter Renfrow goes. Oh, although. Okay, cool. Because I was like, oh, I do want to get me some Juju, man. I want a Juju on that beat, dude. I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. Probably not, because I'm not sold on Juju being a solid wide receiver or number 1. But with Pat Mahomes, I certainly think that he could be 800 yard receiver.
I think you're right too.
Do they put him outside? Does
Juju?
Does Kansas City try to put Juju outside? Because that's a different story. If that ends up happening, that's a different story. And Juju.
God damn it! I wanted Gabe Davis. Go away.
You're gonna go with that one?
Yeah, I was just really. I was like, that's who I'm taking. Not anymore. Not anymore. All right, got to make a new pick now. Man.
Oh, I need to get more running backs. I only have 3. I didn't realize that I went on a wide receiver run there and grabbed like a ton of wide receivers.
Can you if that dance Johnny just did?
Nice.
Oh, shout out to the creator of the GIF who just passed away. We can call them GIFs. I got no problem with that, but he called them GIFs. So as
did he really?
He just did like last week. Yeah, it's GIF. He came out clearly and was like GIF as in giraffe. Yeah,
really. This guy created them?
Yeah, back in the 80s.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you create an online GIF with no technology?
Formats? I mean, how does the original binary code get created, man? Like, somebody does it. Somebody's working in a sandbox.
I'd like to know. Like, this guy, like, is it documented that he created it?
Yes.
Like, yes. It is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just wondering if it was one of those things that he was like, oh, I created this. Like,
No, it's definitely him.
Okay. Interesting. Why did he wait so long to come out and say it?
He did it. He's been saying it for a long time.
Oh.
It's just
why is this the first time? Yeah, that's true. It's probably bigger.
As Ronald said, it was always GIF, but GIF became the nickname and now is more used and equally acceptable. I'd even say it's more acceptable because I like to go with the founder word of GIF, and I see the way people look at me when I say it. I'll say this. People who go with GIF, I think, harder than people who go with GIF. Let me know if you agree on that take. Maybe that's just how I see it because I've gone with GIF, so I've dealt with those menacing eyes for many years.
I just want to know what it actually is.
It's GIF. Well, if we go by what the creator who had the naming rights called.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I guess that's a fair point.
But it is what it is.
Cousins or... No, I'm going with my guy, Derek Carr.
It should also technically be the Boston Celtics, but we don't say that.
Oh. That's factual. I didn't even think about that until you just said that. That just blew my mind. It's like one of those things. You're like, oh, I know about that. Like, I know that's the actual...
Right.
Yeah. All right, your boy needs some more. How many more rounds do we have right now?
We go up to 20 rounds on
up to
this. Let me
20.
scroll. Yeah, so we're
in round 17. So
we're coming down to it here.
All right, your boy needs to get some more running backs. That's what I need.
Man, I want Chase Claypool to ball so bad. Do it for me this year. Let's go. Let's go, Chase. Let's go.
He could. It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Drew K. Lou here, making the end of the 17th round selection, start of the 18th. Wrapping around. I wanted to just give a quick take on my side from these tight ends and quarterbacks. Like, I really try then just to load up on these guys who have that upside. Because as you mentioned earlier, Johnny, people get hurt. People have down games. Bye weeks exist for everybody. And I made the mistake last year of having a couple, like, only 2 quarterback teams. And then, like, one of your quarterbacks gets hurt. And then the other one, like, might have some up and not amazing games. It's bye week. And if you're not prepared to have another quarterback on your bench, like, you just had your number 1 scoring position, traditionally speaking, not start for you.
Yeah. It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, it's super risky. So I've got myself 3 quarterbacks, but I think I'd like to grab another 1 or 2.
Here's the other another little tip. It is way more risky now, and it's nicer to do in these like little $3 games.
Yeah.
But rookies, the gamble is worth it sometimes with these rookies, right? Because, for example, think about like CH when he did get drafted, right? Like the hype around being like, oh, CH got drafted. He wasn't projected to be the number 1 running back coming off the board, then goes to Kansas City. We all get super hyped. And then all of a sudden now, like, that could potentially happen with some of these running back, right? Like Kenneth Walker here, Isaiah Spiller. Let's say one of those guys goes to one of these marquee running back franchise, or one of these franchises that needs a running back, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden that guy is jumping up because of the situation. So sometimes that could, benefit you. But again, it is a big risk because of you don't ultimately know where they're going to go. So maybe if you have some insider information like Calvin Ridley or something, then you can make that gamble a little bit.
Ronald's saying you always downplay his dynasty because he picks a lot of rookies.
Who said that?
Professor Ron.
Oh, I mean, I'm just worried about your dynasty team. If it's all rookies, there's some concern there.
A little bit.
But I didn't do so great in my dynasty mock draft either, Ron. So
people were shouting you out, though. Some people thought that you had a really nice one.
Yeah. Take some risk. That's what I said. He said, take some risk. I get it. No, I know, but
okay. I just gotta say on this one, Ronald, I'm so happy that you said this because Johnny's intensity with mock drafts is a double-sided sword. Is a two-sided sword because he cares so much, which is great because we gotta care. We're creating the content. It only matters as much as we make it matter. But then he does exactly what you're talking about here. He does not take risks. He gets truly upset if his player gets sniped. I've moved, like, we've had draft orders set up before the show starts, and I'm like, well, Johnny, it might make more sense if we like pace it out in a different way. He's like, but then I can't get the guy that I wanted. Yeah, and I'm like, but the content's going to be better. And he's like, I'm not here for content. I'm here to mock draft, motherfuckers. And he takes that role very seriously. He's open to input, but that is his default. Yeah. You are right. They call it passion.
Yeah, that's true. That's at least what I always call it to get around it. Ronald Moore. Dang it, Rondale Moore. I was looking at him for quite a while.
Yeah.
But then I needed damn running back, so that's why I skipped on him. And
I'm happy that Cordell Patterson was here for me in the last round. Like, I know there's question marks around it, but this dude was a RB1, wide receiver 1. Pick which category you want to put him in.
Ooh, do I go Logan Thomas or never mind, my other wide receiver? I'm gonna go Logan.
I like Logan. I like him this year. I like Hunter's upside.
I think what other tight end? I was gonna, yeah. Oh, why didn't I go?
All right. Well, there it is, everybody. We've just got our best ball 6-team draft selected. It's got me projected at 4,196 points. Does this give us any other breakthroughs?
I forgot it. I'm projected at. Oh, you're projected higher than me.
Cool. Oh, so let's see. We can see the points. So 4,300 points for Jay Blizzy, 4,000 there for Johnny. Just around 4,000 there for DBR. Who's it ahead? You or him? So you're ahead. It's got so far Josh, you, DBR.
Then
I'm in second.
Oh, you're in.
I think dead tied there with you. Yep. And then Drew K. Lou there. I think that's coming in the last spot. So the projections on this one would be Jay Blizzy.
Projections in.
Jay Blizzy, then myself, you and BroCal are tied. And then Death by Rona and Drew K. Lou for the projections. So, hey, Josh, man, back-to-back wins there for you.
Oh. And hey, and where you at? Hey, and what's up, Ronald? You're saying you're like, oh, Death by Rona. Scott's got the best team. He's like, you guys are about to get served. He got the lowest score,
which we know is only a projection. We are very excited. We are very excited to continue watching and scoring all of these tournaments that we just drafted as the season kicks off, because these were actual live drafts. And if you watch this and you wanted to get in on a little bit on this action, don't blame you. You can do it next week on Monday. Just make sure you are liked and subscribed to the show. And we're going to be dropping in our links, both for our sleeper mock drafts, which we do before the Underdog best ball tournaments, and then those ones immediately after the show. We would love to have you joining us for our future mock drafts coming up. So
this is great. This is actually factual, correct, Ronald? Yeah, you want the computer actually to say, that is pretty true. I actually do. That is a true statement.
I think that projections are the fucking worst, and they make no sense, and they rank them on weird things. Like they don't factor in attrition. That's the problem with the projections most of the time. At least like in other formats, when they give you the rankings, it's like, oh, you drafted too many of these guys. It's like, I'm trying to cover the attrition that inevitably arises every season. I'm going to have a great starting lineup no matter what, but that doesn't factor that into projections. So to hell with them. We'll get the real results though following the season. Can't wait to draft with you, Whisper Nation, next week as well. We've got our Thursday football show coming up on Thursday, so it'll be like and subscribe to that. Slightly different take where we're going to be going through the topics surrounding the NFL and talking them about with you, with us, and doing all that fun stuff. So a bit more of like a news and nuggets type of show. And then back on Monday again for our mock draft Mondays. Johnny, anything you'd like to share with Whisper Nation before we call this an afternoon?
Nope. Just make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you join us on Thursday. Got a dope show. Big Travi will be back with us as well. It's got some fun stuff. So that's all I got.
There it is. Well, that's Johnny Game Time Hicks. I'm Austin Sear. We're the Fantasy Whisperers, and we're out of here.
Peace.
Davante Adams just got dealt to the Las Vegas Raiders.
This makes
for
sense.
2 prime 2022 picks.
Right here.
Wow.
Las Vegas sends back a first-round pick, potentially move picks, and a player. Potentially more picks and a player. So at least a first-rounder for Adams, who we apparently couldn't get a deal done with.
Hey, can you send back Brian Edwards? Send back Brian Edwards, baby. Please. Send back Brian Edwards. I hope
he wants Brian Edwards. Yeah, I mean, former second-round pick,
Aaron
right?
Sure, I'll take. I'll take
Brian
Edwards.
We don't have a wide receiver.
We're playing Alan Lazard and flipping. I mean, I know he's probably not coming back, but this is wild, guys. So much to unpack.
This is fun. This is nuts.
Do you think Davante was upset with Aaron because in the beginning it was, hey, this is our last the last dance kind of thing. Yeah, the last dance. And then it kind of just became about Aaron Rodgers. Like it wasn't even about Davante Adams. And do you think that Davante Adams then became a little slighted?
That could happen.
Dude, that could happen. Gave him a taste of his own medicine, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I am not surprised about that line of thinking
all.
Because Davante's smart, right?
Yeah, you're saying Davante went to Green Bay and say, do not tell Aaron Rodgers anything, but you deal me. You trade me to the Raiders.
I could say,
Right?
I could
I'm
say,
I'm not saying he did that,
LaFleur,
but
I'm out.
I'm not saying he necessarily did that, but I am saying that he did.
But I like that vindictive storyline. I like it.
You know, well, yeah,
I want to trade Aaron Rodgers. I've been popping off in our football chats left and right, and I got Aaron Rodgers autograph on this ball right here, man. I've like spent more money going to games that he's been playing in than any other player, period. Like the Packers are a part of my blood, man, and trade Aaron Rodgers is my personal preference. Maybe it was Devontae Adams's as well.
dude, I wish we could get Devontae Adams on a podcast right now and just ask him these questions because, man, that would be some great drama that I'd be here
pick
for.
From the Raiders should be the number 22 pick because that is the first rounder that they have.
So they could get a
So
wide
we'll get
receiver
2022.
there too.
Sure.
This is a pretty good.
I don't think that's going to replace Devontae Adams, but if you're looking at this as an organizational level, and I understand, like, don't trade it around. We lost this deal. It doesn't matter what picks come out and what player is in the deal. Like, we're going to lose this deal, right? Because we're giving up Devontae Adams. But I think if you're looking at it like long term, it probably helps the cap to get him out, and long term, it probably forces Aaron Rodgers to get back to spreading the ball around and making it more about everybody else. Because I'll tell you what, he had a 3rd and 9 against the San Francisco 49ers, our last offensive play of the game, and he airmailed it to Devontae, which was in triple coverage when he had Allen Lazard open in the middle. So, sometimes the mind meld is amazing when he scores double-digit touchdowns, and we love it, and it's fantasy, it's great, but sometimes it costs us real football games. And so maybe that's where we're at with it. Maybe that's the line of thinking. Not saying I agree. It's a huge move for the Packers to make. Like, this is not a Packers-like deal at all. But we're doing some crazy stuff, extending Raiders and then trading away his best player.
You know, I'm invested with Devontae, man.
I feel like it's not even right to go to the next wide receiver we were going to talk about. I want to see what else we get. If there are picks and players coming back, that would be.
Whisper Nation, let us know as the details come in about this deal.
Yeah, they're saying this was, according to Scott, this was in the trade for, was in the works, or it's been in the works for weeks. I'm telling you, I read an article last year where they had asked Devontae,
how long till Rodgers retires?
Oh, yeah. What do you want? Hey, do you
this
think
is like
he does?
Aaron Rodgers just broke up with his fiance, and he just broke up with the best wide receiver he's ever had.
Right here.
Oh, hey, you made it to the end of the video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified anytime we drop new content or go live. And if you're still not sold, go ahead and check out one of these videos.